So what are we thinking about Manchester United's Premier League season so far? 10th in the league, and I think that's where they deserve to be. It's hard to say that, but there are 9 teams better than Manchester United. I believe Crystal Palace are above Manchester United. They beat Manchester United, and the Villas, the Brightons, the Newcastles and Spurs, certainly, they're all better. And that's the challenge that Manchester United have got right now. I think the reasons for this, Manchester United will talk about injuries, but I think that is blatantly obvious that was going to happen. It was a very demanding season last year. It was a very demanding pre-season, and players just can't keep going 3 times a week, season after season. I think we've seen a drop-off from Casemiro. We've seen a drop-off from Rashford. We've seen a drop-off from Bruno. Varane is picking up the injuries again. We've changed the goalkeeper. Martinez is injured. I think there's every reason, when you look at the spine of the team and the change from last season, to see, with other teams around us getting better as well and more hungry, I think United are almost on cruise control at the moment, and that's not going to be enough in the Premier League. So Manchester Derby is coming up week after next, and always a massive game. It's going to be a massive game for Manchester United. It's going to be a massive game for Man City, having lost 2 recently. But where does that rank in the big derbies within the UK, let alone the world? And look, we have the Merseyside derby, we have the North London derby. I personally hate to say this, but I think both of those are more high profile than the Manchester derby. And I've got plenty of Manchester United fans and friends who live in Manchester, and it's a massive derby to them. And it's got nothing to do with jealousy that Manchester City have won the treble or money. It really just comes down to me. Traditionally, the biggest game for Manchester United, and it's not a derby, is the Liverpool game. That has always been the big game, and it's sort of a derby that's not a derby. And I think Liverpool fans have a similar feeling when it comes to the Merseyside derby. But for me, I don't really feel like the Manchester derby is that big a deal. My honest thoughts on the Manchester United takeover story: Sir Jim Ratcliffe looking to take 25% with a potential path to a full takeover in maybe 3 years' time. Is one of major disappointment. It's interesting in the fan base at the moment because there was a United view that it was full sail and Glazers out, and literally all we've had is newspaper stories, and suddenly certain United fans are believing newspaper stories that it's a full sail in 3 years and 25%, and they've sort of almost parked their priorities. For me and many others, a full sale meant Glazers out completely. I'm not subscribing to a view that let's wait and see what happens. This was the mistake that happened in 2005. I wanted a full sale. I know that represented Qatar, but for me, it's not really about Sheikh Jassim and his bid. He was the only one offering a full sale. If Sir Jim Ratcliffe was offering a full sale now and the Glazers out, I'd be very, very different about it. It's interesting because I saw the Gary Neville 16-point plan on Twitter, and then I saw Simon Jordan's response sort of saying that he's playing to the gallery. Obviously, there's a bit of back and forth with those over the years. Look, I've not had great interaction with either myself, but so I'll look at it and I'll just go from a point of view of what I think is best for Manchester United. I thought Gary Neville's 16-point plan, I agreed with most of it. I think most United fans could probably write a 50-point plan. There's just so many questions of which we won't get the answer to. We're not actually entitled to those answers. We're just fans. We have no ownership of this football club. That's a really sad statement, but if United fans had chosen what they wanted, it wouldn't be Sir Jim Ratcliffe working with the Glazers, but it was always a Glazer choice, and that's the problem. In relation to Manchester United's future, I think it's very easy if you've got an ownership like Man City or Newcastle and a full reset to have a 5-point plan. You would go infrastructure, stadia, playing squad, removing the players that shouldn't be there that have been kept for a long time, and going toe-to-toe aggressively and ruthlessly with the big names in football now. That's very easy in a way because, as I say, if you get a Qatari ownership or a Saudi ownership or an Elon Musk ownership, then it is a cheat code. But there are clubs that have that. Man City and Newcastle have that cheat code. We've ridiculed it for years, but actually they're ahead of the game because that's what you need. People shout at, well, Liverpool have won the title. Man City have won the title 4 times out of the last 5. Well done, Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool, for winning that title, but it's not consistent, is it? He did it once and then he's not been able to back it up because he hasn't got the resources that Pep Guardiola's got. Look, I had so many people this week contact me about this article that Paul Parker did with some company saying that I'm one of the biggest problems at Manchester United. I don't even support the club. I'm a Nottingham Forest fan. I find it really disappointing because I've done content with Paul in the past. I actually think I liked him when he played for England and Manchester United. I've met him. And I just feel that these sort of comments are really sad and ill-advised because, one, they're not true, and when you're saying things that are not true about people, you've got to be very, very careful what you're doing. And secondly, Manchester United are going through one of the biggest things in their history, recent history, Premier League history. Since 2005, we were about to get purchased by somebody. There are numerous big topics to discuss about that, and apparently I, as a YouTube influencer or whatever he called me, is a big problem. So I want a full sale. I want the Glazers out. I fully back this manager. There's certain players that I think need to be sold that are holding the club back.